All right, here we are, week three, uh, doing the improv to improve. And it's funny, I never really would have connected improv and preaching. But after going through the book and the different exercises, I can see where I've actually used uh, some of this stuff kind of inadvertently, within my preaching. Um, One thing with preaching is definitely being able to be on your toes and kind of shift gears with the exercise of let it flow and just having a conversation and letting it go wherever it goes. um, I've had that happen kind of a few times when preaching. It's slightly different obviously, but I'll prepare my sermon and have my notes and my layout of all the different topics I'm going to touch on. And then I'll be sitting in the pulpit, during praise and worship, and God will kind of speak and give me a whole completely different direction to go. And then I listen to the Holy Spirit and I kind of trash what I had prepared and I just go with go with what God has shown me in those 2 minutes before I'm about to preach. Thankfully I don't have PowerPoints and different cues or anything like that prepared. So it doesn't really catch the congregation or the audience by surprise when I switch gears 2 minutes before I'm about to give my sermon. But that the let it flow exercise, um, where you just go where the conversation leads you. Again, it was a conversation kind of between me and me and the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit, led me one way, and I just said, all right, and I just went with it. So I've had that happen on numerous occasions. Um, the zoom in, zoom out exercise, in trying to stay, come back to the focus. I've had to do because I can tend to somewhat ramble and get off track, and I have to make sure I reel that back in and get back to what the main point or what the main focus is that I want people to walk away with. So again, I've some of these I've already done just kind of inadvertently and didn't realize they were improv exercises. Um, Making um, specific choices and being focused on word choice um, is something I've had to use also, especially when you kind of want to touch on a specific point, like for example in my Philippians sermon and dealing with the word, pressing towards the mark and pressing towards the goal, and being focused on that word press, and especially in the Greek, meaning to stretch your muscle to the absolute limit. Um, so being very intentional with words, word choice, and where the focus is. Um, is important, and then again, dealing with children and youth ministry, having to be careful to not use trigger words, or words that will, they'll think is funny and get them completely off task and lead to other topics that, you may not want to discuss in youth Bible study. So being intentional with word choice is another one that I've used. Again, it was really funny and interesting. I mean, the only kind of interaction I've ever had with improv prior to this was, watching Steve Carell on The Office, um, as Michael Scott, and he went to improv, and it was funny to watch. But that's really all I've ever seen of improv until this. So it was really interesting in seeing how, um, even prior to this, I've already, somewhat related improv to preaching without really knowing it. But just being able to adapt, think on your feet, because things can and do go wrong, and the Holy Spirit can just lead you whatever direction it chooses. So being able to adapt to that, to listen to that, is very important, and that's kind of what I got out of this. So thank you.